There was a time not too long ago when we all coped perfectly well without a mobile phone, especially at school. Today's smartphones can do some pretty clever things, but is it time we got back to basics in the classroom and left them at home?
It's the start of the day and lock-up time for mobiles at McKinnon Secondary College.
You need a research on it.
At nearby Warana Park Primary,
Hey Google, show me a map of Australia.
school is in and mobiles are out. We are among the most prolific users of mobile phones in the world. 4 out of 5 of us have one, and they've filtered into our schoolyards, creating one hell of a debate from the students.
Some people are thinking we shouldn't have phones in the school.
Oh.
Are you doing a little better academically without the phone, do you think?
Yeah, I actually think I am.
And their principals.
They're estimating that 90% of jobs in the future will involve digital literacy.
We can't switch off. We're all really addicted to technology, and I think there just has to be a balance, and young people need a bit more structure.
Tonight we hear from 2 schools, one that encourages phones.
I think making a call off the phone is probably the most boring thing you could do with a phone. There's so many things you can do with it.
And another that has disconnected from them.
It's been absolutely transformational.
Principal, don't be offended, but you've got to be the oldest geek principal in Australia when I look inside there.
I probably am, but I'm not a computer geek. That's my Achilles heel, but I recognise that it's extremely important for our children.
He's the remarkable 78-year-old principal of Warana Park Primary in Melbourne, where Ray Trotter has ensured digital technology is in every classroom.
There's a helicopter just there. That's amazing.
Geography is not in a book, but is real with virtual reality.
Mount Everest?
Mount Everest. But you can go anywhere.
This one?
There's robotics. And kids on mobiles everywhere using apps to do things like coding, flying drones, and making video assignments.
And sometimes it comes to moments where these are actually way more important than the computers. And you can't bring a computer everywhere you go, but a phone you can bring wherever you go.
So if they didn't have these tools to do this sort of work...
Nearly impossible.
But just a few kilometres down the road at McKinnon College, they're disconnecting to connect.
Well, one thing I noticed as we walk through here, it's awfully noisy.
It certainly is that, and I love every bit of it. Their heads are up, they're engaging, they're socialising, and they're making really strong relationships. And that's
Since Principal Pitzer Binion introduced the mobile-free zone, there's been a significant change in student behaviour. You may be just like these students were.
They're a distraction because your brain is actually just thinking about, well, is anybody texting? Has anybody sent me a message? Is there a post that I want to have a look at? Has anybody done anything exciting that I can, engage with?
I remember, year 10, I would sit in class in English and people would be on their phones under the table, and it was a big distraction.
So Principal Binion had to make a tough decision.
What are we doing? Let's be brave here.
So she ordered all phones must be locked up for the day and never touched.
As difficult as it is to let go of this device, it's actually in their best interest because they are going to be concentrating on the learning in that lesson for the day.
I think not having the ability to just look at it takes that away completely, so it's really easy to just stay focused and do your best.
And it's worked. The school is currently rated in the top 3 public schools of Victoria. But technology is still a big part of a child's learning here, except for that one device in the locker, although there is one proviso.
They cannot use them during the school day unless it's being used for a particular aspect of their learning and their teacher gives them permission to bring them to class.
Over at Warana Park Primary, They're horrified by the thought of a phoneless school.
Hey Google, what's the capital of Belgium?
In fact, says teacher Kieran Nolan, they're currently working on supplying disadvantaged students with subsidised smartphones.
It's equity of access for students because not every student can afford an expensive device like an iPad or a computer.
The New South Wales government recently banned mobiles in state primary schools and gave high schools the choice to opt into the ban or tightly restrict their use. Even Principal Trotter concedes some parents aren't keen on them at his school either.
We've got to prepare these children, and unfortunately we're battling sometimes with parents that are worried about perhaps what they did as youngsters and being scared that their children will do the same thing.
Do you miss your phone?
Not really.
At the end of the day, it really doesn't make a difference whether you look at it right at that minute when your friend sent you a message or at the end of the day.
So what happens if a child rocks up to school and they're wearing a smartwatch?
You know, technology is changing the way we operate, and we're asking them not to bring them. So that's the same.
Years ago when I went to school, it was a pen, pencil, colouring pencils, a ruler. Now we've moved on, and we've got to learn to utilise that equipment because that's what they're going to be using in their daily lives.
We're running a Facebook poll to see how you feel about banning phones in schools. So far, an overwhelming 74% of you agree with a ban and 26% do not. There is still time to have your say. Just head to our Facebook page.